Well, greetings. Uh, Very familiar tune, otherwise known as the C scale, and takes me back to many years ago. I would say 44 years ago, when I was in Barbados at my home corps forums, and I was sitting under a Lieutenant Noel Mason trying to teach me how to play music. My father had tried to teach me theory, but I couldn't really grasp it. But when we started going over to the Salvation Army, I started to learn and understand what my father was trying to teach me. And through some simple exercises and training books that the Salvation Army had, I started to learn how to play music. I was trained by Lieutenant Noel Mason. But over the years, he would often make the joke that the first time that I tried to learn how to play, I could not get the notes. And I went home crying to play that C scale. Talks about it and keep talking about it all the time over the years. This is 44 years later. I can now play the C scale. So, Major Noel Mason, what can I say? Major Noel Mason came into my life when I, along with my family, were attending Wesley Holiness Church. And we were keeping the keys for the Salvation Army because the Salvation Army building had moved next to our house, but the quarters for the officer was a mile away. So we'd keep the key, and when the people come to church, we would give them the key. So God works in mysterious ways. And it so happened then that my parents decided to join the Salvation Army. My father said, well, we might as well join the Salvation Army. We already have the key to the church. As strange as that may sound, then we became members of the church. Now, my journey in the Salvation Army is a journey about taking chances. Lieutenant Noel Mason took a chance on me and my sister, Paula, teaching us music even though we were not junior soldiers. We were going to another church. But we used to go to Joy Hour at the Salvation Army along with our sister, Marcia. And he encouraged us to be a part of the ministry and the fellowship at the Salvation Army in for us. And then we became junior soldiers. I was his first junior soldier. And he enrolled me and my sister, and he enrolled my other sister, Marcia. This is about taking chances. He always kept saying Marcia was not yet old enough to become a junior soldier, but he enrolled her anyway a few months early. She was about to be 7 in a few months. And so we all got enrolled together as junior soldiers. What can I say about the Lieutenant Noel Mason? When we first met him, he was like a second father. I would say that I'm blessed having my paternal, my real father, and Major Noel Mason combined together as father figures in my life. My father was there constantly from the time I was born until he died recently, making a solid contribution to my life. And then Major Mason was the spiritual father, guiding me through as a Salvation Army member, as a Salvation Army officer. After he left for us in the early 80s, he made sure that my sister and I were practicing members of the Barbados Divisional Band because we had started playing music on the end, but nobody would be there to continue to coach us. And we started playing in the band, and we got deeper and deeper into the Salvation Army. Fast forward that now some years down the line, and I was playing more music, learning more instruments, based on just having to start from Lieutenant Noel Mason. And we were a part of his family, and I would say he really was good for us. My parents were strict. We hardly went on the road really on our own. But Lieutenant Mason would come in this panel van, Volkswagen van. He used to drive the Meals on Wheels for DHQ, and he would pick us up as junior soldiers, and we would all go driving around Barbados. Sometimes we go to KFC, but sometimes it was just the fellowship. And we look forward to these times. We would hear, there weren't no cell phones, so the vehicle would just drive in the yard, we heard the horn blowing, and he would ask my father if we could go, and then we would all jump in this panel van to benches from the church, because it was a panel van, so no seats and no windows. And we all having a good time in there with the Masons. And during that time, Ariki was born, and we celebrated with her, and she was our little sister. And fast forward then now, I became a cadet in the Salvation Army. So Major Mason was at every step in my Salvation Army ministry. When I became a cadet and I went to Jamaica, he was at Raytown, and in my first year, he was there along with Mrs. Mason. And I was spending time at Raytown in my free time. He was always encouraging along the way, helped me to go to the wharf to clear my barrels when I came to the college. It was so many things. In my first year, we went off to cadet camping, and he came to the college for Brangle, and he stayed coincidentally in my room at the college. And when I came back, he had left this TV in the room. He came to Brangle, but he brought all kind of equipment in the room. As you know, he always loved equipment. And so he left this little 7-inch TV in the room. And they often say that you pattern your example. And I remember taking a little 7-inch TV with me, and I went to Belize. And I used to put it on top of my saxophone case on the patio. And all the junior soldiers would come by, and we'd be watching TV, looking at this little 7-inch TV. But there's the example of connecting with the community, connecting with the young people in the congregation. I remember, like I said, when we would go around with them before Ariki was born, and it reminds me of when my wife was pregnant, and we would take the junior soldiers for walks in Belize, in the countryside. We didn't have a vehicle, but we used to go walking to the river and back, just like how I used to go on the road with the Masons and the other junior soldiers. During this time, he was not a person that would be boasting or showing the deeds that he was doing, but he was pretty philanthropic and tried to help many other people. I remember he was working, like I said, doing the Meals on Wheels, but there was some bulk of blue shirts, just like this shirt jack we call it. A bulk of them came in from some cloth garment factory or something like that, and they came into day school, and he brought them to the court and give to every boy and man in the court, which there weren't much of us, and then he distributed in the village where we live. And so then you see about 20, 30 people, men and boys, walking around in these blue shirts. um, there are little things that people do, you and I, that we do in our life, and we take it for granted, or we don't really think anything of it. But then the people that we do these things for, just as we do in our legal mercy, or community care, as we call it now, it impacts people's lives in great ways. So when I became a second year cadet, he made sure that he flew in from the Bahamas to be at my commissioning. And he was there for the entire weekend. And then I moved to Belize, and we would not be in touch so much until 2 years later, I transferred out to Canada and Bermuda, where I spent 5 years in Bermuda. And during that time, we were able to travel, and we visited them in Pontiac. They had then moved out to the Caribbean territory and were in USA Central, and they were at Pontiac, Corey, Michigan. And I drove down from Ontario, crossed the border, and into Michigan, and we spent some days there picking up. And it was there then. This is the first time that they then met me now as a married man with my wife and 2 children, Christine and Monique. And throughout many moments, we continued to connect. And after they left Pontiac, they went to Parkview. And it was amazing to visit Parkview and see the other spiritual children that they nurtured, and to share in the ministry over there. And Arike and Akin were very active in the church, and he was so proud of both of them and loved them so much. And I, along with the others, I know they would say the same thing, felt a great privilege to be a part of the ministry of Majors Noel and Rosemary Mason. And I thank God for his constant follow-up with me as a mentor, a spiritual father. It was crucial to me reaching this point. When I became a district officer, he was in Jamaica. I had a prayer dedication before we went off to Belize. And then again, coming to Western Jamaica, they came and spent time with us last year. First time I ever hosted them in my house. It was always the other way around. And we were blessed to spend time in Atlanta with them this year. But at the retirement in 2018, I was fortunate to be there. And it was in that moment, just before I played a solo. I first played this instrument in Pontiac. And I said, oh my goodness, this is the best cornet I ever played. Best and sovereign. And he knew that I envied this instrument, coveted it, wanted it. And at the retirement, just before I signed the solo, gave the story again about me not being able to play the C scale. And the fact that now I could play music much better than him, that's what he said at that time. And he gave this to me. If you're in the Caribbean, you know that when we're learning to play instruments, we can't afford them, so it's just 2 or 3 people sharing one instrument, taking turns to be taught. And so then I finally had this cornet of my own. And I thank God for the blessing of having sent um, Lieutenant and Captain and Major Noel Mason in my life. When I read his file when I was senior training officer, I see that they refer to him as the man from Williamsfield who they were not sure that they would accept to be a cadet. And then God worked in his mysterious way and he was accepted. They took a chance on him. He took a chance on me and my family. And this is where I am today, trying to continue to serve the Lord. I give thanks for his ministry. And I say the Lord has done a great thing. And I extend sincere condolences to Mrs. Mason and Ariki and Akin and the rest of the family that embraced me. Raphael and Cherie and Chris and Debbie and Paul and Barbara and Carol, and the extended family, all the little nieces and nephews, we became a part of that. And of course, we were able to meet Major Raphael Sr. and his mother as well. So we thank God. He has done great things in all of our lives. And we say, how great thou art when we consider that he considers us. I am grateful that God used Lieutenant Noel Mason to consider me and guide me along the way in many areas of my life. Truly, I have been blessed and I give God thanks. I extend sincere condolences to the extended family and friends of Major Noel Mason. And as I hear the words that he would say to me, right now he is taking it easy. And I will continue to take it easy, even as the storms of life may come along this journey. I know that I have a pilot who guides me night and day. God bless you.